Hi. I should get this out of the way. My name is Ivan. I'm originally from Russia. Oh, don't be afraid, it's okay. But to be fair, I don't look very threatening, right? I don't look very stereotypically Russian. Like the other day, somebody told me I look more like a French lesbian. I'm not sure what to do with that. I'm not sure. Some of you are nodding as if you've ever seen a French lesbian before in your life. No. I look like a French lesbian could beat me up. That's realistic. But I've been not living in Russia for a long time now. I actually live in Switzerland. I live in Basel now, which is amazing. One person recognizes where that is. It's interesting. At this point, I have a European passport, which is pretty cool. And I'm not going to turn this into a rally of a successful immigrant. Like, I got a Swiss passport, and so can you. You can't. You know, it's funny, growing up in kind of two nationalities, a lot of people ask me, like, do you feel proper Swiss now that you have the passport? And I'm like, man, it took me so long, I don't feel anything anymore, you know? So I guess I feel Swiss. But it is interesting, growing up in Russia, I come from an interesting family, you know? My dad is actually a vampire. Which is why he does not show up in any family photos, right? So... All right, like, a smattering of people got it, and the rest of you have families with happy marriages. Is that... Fair enough, fair enough. To be fair, my parents did actually have a happy marriage, right? Each of them had multiple. It was great. You could pick your Christmas, you know? But as a kid, I was actually closer with my grandfather, right? I loved my grandfather. We used to spend a lot of time together. We used to play chess, you know? He made me dress up as the queen. Hey, he was the horse, so you should have seen the tower. But it's all right. It's all right. You can laugh at that. It's okay. It's okay. We're a bit tense, but it's okay. No, it's funny. I recently went to visit my family in Russia, actually. Specifically, I went to visit my grandmother, right? And my grandmother, she watches a lot of Russian TV, as it turns out, like propaganda stuff, you know? So I found out from her some interesting things about Europe. I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently, everyone in Europe is either queer or a fascist. And I know what you're thinking, Ivan, which one are you? And you know what? I'll never tell. But that was my family, man. They were very confusing like that growing up. They were very confusing. You know, some of them were very progressive, but some were very confusing. Like my grandfather was the same way. I remember having this conversation with him. We were talking about marriage equality years ago. And at one point he goes, you know, if two men love each other, they should be allowed to get married, right? So long as they're not black. And I'm like, oh my God, you were so close. You were right there, you know. But there's a lot of stuff that I didn't really understand about the outside world until after I moved away, you know? Like, for example, I identify as asexual. And originally, I found that out because the first few times that I had sex, I happened to not enjoy it. And I know it's not a given for asexual people, but I just didn't really know any better. So I was like, I must be asexual. And to be fair, a lot of my early sexual partners must have also been like, I must also be asexual. It's different now. They're all dead. Of old age, I'm not that kind of Russian, you know? Oh, it was accident. No. He walked into that poison. No, Okay. I should say I don't really talk about politics that much usually, but it has been really interesting for me watching what's been happening in the US for the last few years. And maybe it's just for me as an outsider, but because, you know, Trump got elected 8 years ago, and then it was Joe Biden, and then it was them going up against each other again, and now it's Trump again. It feels like there's only been like two men in the entirety of American politics for so long. Which, to be fair, for me, as a Russian person, that's still more variety than we get, you know? I appreciate that, thank you. Some people recognize that. It's nice to see you, Agent 23407. Oh, man. Yeah. but I did actually. I talked to my dad recently about asexuality, kind of as a concept, and I had to sort of explain it to him because he's from a different generation, And at one point, it was almost like a bonding moment because he goes, I didn't know what it was, but I think I might be asexual as well. I'm like, yeah, Dad, erectile dysfunction is not the same thing. He's like, I cured mine with Viagra. I'm like, it's not a disease. I don't know how to explain it. But I should say as well, just because I am asexual doesn't mean that I'm not interested in like dating or anything, because it just can be a little bit confusing sometimes. But like the other night, I was hanging out at this bar with this girl, and I thought it was going great until somebody comes up to us and is like, "Oh, are you guys together?" And she immediately just goes, "No." I felt so offended. Like, why do you have to say no like that right away? Like I know you're married, but no, so just because you're my sister, right? But technically stepsister. But anyway, no, but I find the conversation around sexuality to be a little bit confusing sometimes. Like I got this one friend. He's a bit of a weirdo. He asked me this question the other day. He was like, man, when you have sex, do you have sex with or without socks? I'm like, can you not afford a condom? Mine have holes in them. I don't know. Not effective. But he was bragging to me the other day. It was a bit strange. He works at Subway, the sandwich restaurant, right? Well, restaurant. He was bragging. He was like, I'm the manager there. I could do, we could do whatever I want. Like, if I got the keys. If I wanted to, we'd close up, host an orgy at Subway. I'm like, if I am invited to an orgy at a Subway, I'm not gonna go. Like, no matter how many footlongs you promise me, or And anyways, my favorite fast food place is Five Guys. Thank you. You can make the joke. Exactly. That's it's right there. It's right there. But we kind of kept talking, and it was interesting because at one point, Subway Jared came up. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's like a horrible human being, and he's in prison now. And good riddance, But he used to be the spokesperson for Subway, and it got us thinking: do you think we could still get people like him, like terrible criminals, to advertise fast food places? Because nobody else wants to do it, right? But stay with me here. Imagine you're watching TV at home, and suddenly this guy comes on. He's like, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey Dahmer. And when I was accused of killing 17 people over the course of 13 years, I pleaded insanity. But what's more insane are these deals on a foot long, with drink included, I may have been accused of eating different body parts of several victims of mine shortly after killing them. So I know a thing or two about freshness of product. Subway. Eat flesh. Yeah. Just writes itself, doesn't it? I don't know. But I want to tell you guys this one last thing just before I go, because I used to live in Italy for a while as well. And while I was there, I actually had a near-death experience. Now, at one point, I had to get emergency surgery, and I'm completely fine now, but I realized, in retrospect, that if you have a doctor come up to you and tell you, you're going to have to get the surgery right now, and it's going to really hurt because we're not going to be able to apply anesthesia properly. But if we do it right, you'll be completely okay. I know what I'm doing. You don't want that doctor to have an Italian accent. Because it's not a competent sounding accent. Do you know what I mean? Like, the moment he goes, I know what I am doing, I'm like, no, you don't. I really... It's like just being stabbed by Super Mario now. I don't know. What kind of mushrooms did you have before this? Like I don't. But that's where I realized that surgery for a lot of people very similar to sex. By that I mean in high school I practiced on a frog. But don't worry, it was dissected already. But I just also if you're with them and you're getting down and dirty, you might find Because you can so clearly picture just them going, oh, woohoo, I forgot the condom. Right? No? All right, well, you guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. I've been Ivan Semashev. Have a great night.